I want to talk about an architectural phenomenon that I've been noticing a lot lately. I'll use Chicago as an example because it's where I live and I know it the best, but chances are if you're watching this that you live in a city where this has been happening. What I want to talk about is the Sky Park or Sky Garden or Floating Park. It's a green space attached to a residential high-rise building which provides natural and recreational outdoor amenities for the tenants. Usually it's planted on top of a parking garage. In Chicago, these have been cropping up everywhere, mostly in high-density downtown neighborhoods with a lot of luxury apartments and condos. It serves as an attraction to residents in the sense that it provides both a space for their car to live off the street and a private several-acre park for them to run and play to their heart's content. Here's what it looks like to people who aren't residents. Attractive, right? Now, some modern zoning tweaks and advancements in engineering have changed that plain brick wall to a frame of concrete paneling and windows to better display advertisements to pedestrians at street level. But you might get the sense that what this type of development does is reserve precious green space in urban centers for the elite that can afford the exorbitant cost of living in it. This is sort of an extrapolation of the towers in the park vision that architect Le Corbusier imagined in the 1920s. Vast swaths of public green space, only interrupted at intervals by residential towers with relatively small footprints. This vision was somewhat fulfilled in the middle of the century as public housing projects boomed in cities around America, but has since become tarnished by investors who want to demonize public housing in an effort to return to the era of uninhibited exploitation of their tenants. And there's obviously a huge difference between this and this. A lot of these buildings get celebrated for their sustainability with green roofs and LEED certification, despite having built-in space for hundreds of cars, and in Chicago at least, the only mechanism to encourage green space is the open space impact fee, which is between $300 and $1,300 per unit for market rate, or a measly $100 flat per unit for affordable housing. And as Rem Koolhaas explores in the book Delirious New York, a retroactive manifesto for Manhattan, the actual goal of most upward development has been to maximize private recreation space for landowners, to further isolate and atomize folks of means from the scum around them, and that if it weren't for pesky requirements like floor-to-area ratio and setback envelopes, real estate investors would probably prefer that we all be living in a Brazil-esque grid of tiny dwelling units buried within lifeless gargantuan tower blocks. I mean, Brazil the movie. I don't know anything about Brazil the country. So what we get instead of a tower in the park is a tower on top of a park and a park on top of a parking garage, and a homeless person put in jail for panhandling at the base of the garage. Now here I want to use Chicago to talk about a new advancement in tower on top of a park technology, Lakeshore East. Lakeshore East is a planned development on the lake in downtown Chicago completed in the 2010s as an addition to the New East Side neighborhood. That's neighborhood with an asterisk because it was just the lake before they filled it in. It's home to some very tall and impressive buildings like Aon Center, 1 Prudential Plaza, 2 Prudential Plaza, Blue Cross Blue Shield Tower, Aqua, and the Wanda Vista Tower, which is not on Google Earth yet, but it's almost done being built. This new lifestyle center takes up space that was for a long time a rail yard and then a highway and then a golf course. And a property group called Magellan bought the airspace a decade ago, collaborated with the city to weave in a couple new ramps to Lakeshore Drive and a multi-level road system in Pedway. Then they built a bunch of high-rises called like the Lancaster and the Regatta and Exhibit and shit like that. 10 years later, the New East Side is one of Chicago's most expensive neighborhood and its highest density neighborhood at almost 69,000 people per square mile. Nice. This development costs $4 billion and includes a beautifully furnished 4.5-acre park featuring water fountains, dog runs, gardens, playgrounds, footpaths. It's really a nice park, but the only problem is nobody knows it exists. Most people who live in Chicago don't even know it exists. The only reason I know it's there is I spent way too much time on Google Earth. It is completely obscured by the forest of luxury housing skyscrapers around it, and therefore cordoned off from the public world. It's essentially a private park paid for with public funds. And this is in addition to the acres of private open space provided by the buildings themselves. It's a little bit of a mystery why you would want a park like this when you're literally across the street from the largest park in the city. Unless you were like a wealthy person who wanted special amenities all to yourself to shield yourself from the economic inequality that you helped create, either directly or indirectly. I don't know. I mean, in 1909, people thought skyscrapers were going to look like this, so it's safe to say we're on the right track with the New East Side of Chicago. So let me know if your city has done something shitty like this, or if your city has done something to support public open spaces, or if you just think public parks are cool. Alright, thanks for watching.